Standing here speaking with Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky, who's one of the national co-chairs for the Barack Obama campaign for President of the United States. She, of course, is in her 10th year now in the U.S. Congress. And what we want to know, Congresswoman, Barack Obama, you know him pretty well. You've known him professionally. You've known him personally. What's the magic of Barack Obama?
Well, that's the right word for it, and I've actually seen him do it in the state legislature and in the Congress. He has the incredibly unique ability to make people, to allow people of differing views, of differing parties, of differing ideologies to come to the same table, sit down, put aside name-calling and finger-pointing, and actually get to solutions. He creates an aura of respect around him so people feel safe to air their opinions and to come to some kind of an agreement, a compromise. Or not. Sometimes they don't either, except there's very little acrimony when that happens. And that's, so, I think the American people are really longing for that kind of politics.
Does this overcome, you know also Hillary Clinton. She, of course, is now his opponent one-on-one. You've been known as a feminist. Many people they look at Hillary Clinton and they see the first female president of the United States. How hard is it for you not to support Hillary Clinton for president? Because we know you might like to see the first woman president of the United States.
Because I think Barack is about the future, about a 21st century that has a different tone about it. Now look, if Hillary is the nominee, I'm there. I'm going to be working very hard for her election.
You have no trouble supporting her if she's the nominee?
Oh, no. I have no trouble supporting her if she's the nominee. But I think for these times, I think when Barack Obama raises his hand and takes the oath of office as President of the United States, the narrative about the United States of America, which has been so negative around the world, completely changes. I think people at home, particularly young people, but not only young people, will feel that they have a stake now in their own future. We see young people participating in this election like no other because they see themselves in Barack Obama and real hope for the future.
Well, what Barack Obama offers is that unique ability to bring the country together at a time when people are sick and tired of the divisions, the bitterness, the partisanship that's blocked progress in our country. I think people yearn for what they knew decades ago, which is a country that, people were united. There was a sense of common purpose, common destiny, and Americans felt we were all one nation rallied behind, common goals. And I think that's something that people are hungry for, and they see in Barack Obama someone who can overcome traditional divisions, whether the partisan divisions, Republican, Democrat, Independent, gender, race, that can actually bring the country together and actually achieve great things again.
Is the biggest thing that he transcends race, so he is not the black candidate, he's not the white candidate, he's Barack Obama?
Barack Obama is someone who transcends partisanship, race, gender, geography. That's been his appeal in Illinois as a state legislator, as a U.S. senator, and now as president. And when people see Barack Obama, they get to know his history, his background, his accomplishments, his vision. They support him. We see that in these early states where he's had a chance to really introduce himself. The challenge today in 24 states in a week is difficult to kind of introduce yourself, particularly in places like California where the Clintons and others have been known for forever. So if Barack does well tonight, that's a remarkable testimony to his skill, given the enormous advantages of the Clinton campaign.
So does he have the advantage going into March, going into April, if this campaign goes that long, because he's got more time than he's had to introduce himself to the people in each of those primaries coming up?
I think if Barack does well tonight to move forward into the next stages, and it's a roughly even race, I think the fact that he'll be able to concentrate more one-on-one in some of these states and actually introduce himself and have a real debate and a real contrast of positions and backgrounds, I think that can only bode well for him.
I'm looking forward to the fall. If it is McCain and Obama facing each other for president of the United States, size up that race, size up those two candidates.
Well, I think that is a kind of a perfect matchup of the future versus the past. I mean, I think it's clearly it's not just a generational issue, but it's a question of, the type of foreign policy we're going to run. Are we going to be huge to this type of conventional wisdom that got us into a disastrous war in Iraq, or are we going to break out of those old patterns and have forceful diplomacy in the world, make sure that our foreign involvements are in the national security interests of this country rather than part of a flawed ideological mission. I think those sort of contrasts I think will be very clear and very drawn. Not to mention obviously the economy, where I think people traditionally trust Democrats more, and this is a time obviously when the economy is in difficulty.
McCain would be 72 at that time. Obama would be 47 or 48. A quarter century of difference in age. Does age become a significant factor?
Well, I don't think it would be a campaign issue, but I think obviously there's contrast, and I think those contrasts are rooted in someone who's been in the United States Congress for decades, who follows the same conventional thinking and patterns that got us into a disastrous war, that's made us less safe rather than more safe. And I think that kind of contrast is what Barack Obama's been talking about. We got to break away from those old patterns. We have to find a way to get to the future, not the past. Elections are about the future, not the past.
One last thing. You've known him well. You've known him for more than a decade. You've known him as a friend. What's Barack Obama, the man, like? Not the candidate, but the man.
Well, he's very self-effacing. He's down to earth. He's actually about as normal a human being as you'll ever find at this level of presidential politics. In a business where a lot of people, I think, are driven by various psychoses, he's a guy who's very normal, very down to earth, a regular guy, and someone I think people will be very comfortable within their living rooms, whether in person or on TV, hopefully, as the chief executive.
You're watching the Illinois Channel, an independent nonprofit corporation formed to provide gavel-to-gavel coverage of Illinois state government and other public affairs events taking place across Illinois. If you have any comments or questions on our programming, please email us at illinoischannel@aol.com. Or if you have any questions about the Illinois Channel, please visit our website at www.illinoischannel.org.